Welcome to Lunch with Lawrence, episode 18, y'all. It's episode 18. This is my last episode for 2021, and I am thankful and appreciative to have Essence Devore in the building for episode 18. How you feeling, Essence?
I feel good. Thank you for having me.
Yes.
Such an honor.
Yes, I am happy you are here, y'all. Listen, man, I've shot 17 episodes, ready to close out 2021, set some goals for 2022, so we can talk about that on the show. And it's the holiday season, man. You know, it's Christmas coming up, so you see I'm rocking my little red Christmas, my little red Christmas. I can't call it a sweater, but I got this from my boy Jameer. Shout out to Jameer.
I think they call it those shackets.
So I don't know, some. It's hot though. I be in this voice sweating. I'm like, all right, it feels good. But nah, man. Essence, as you already know, Lunch with Lawrence is about entrepreneurship. You are definitely killing it in Cleveland. You have so many things going on. And I'm excited to just talk about all of them. So I know that you have the hair salon.
Yes.
Which is called
Style Bar Salon.
Style Bar Salon.
Yep.
And then you are now a licensed nurse.
Yep.
Okay. And then you open up a spot called Body Bar.
Yes. Body Bar Med Clinic.
Body Bar Med Clinic. So we're going to get into it, man. Essence is making a lot of noise, especially with this new business venture she got into. But we're going to take it back to her being a licensed cosmetologist for the last 13 years, right?
Yes.
All right. So talk about now. Before we get into that.
Okay.
What was like your first introduction to entrepreneurship, or when did you start? Like, did you have anything before you started doing that, or who introduced you to entrepreneurship? What made you want to work for yourself?
Well, my parents, they are just hustle and bustle, entrepreneur spirit type of people. Just make a way out of no way and. Things like that. They always preach like getting your own and being independent.
Yeah.
So I guess that's where it initially come from. My mom and my stepdad, rest his soul, Van Dyke.
Yeah.
But before Style Bar, no, I was. I'm gonna go all the way back to the beginning, and I don't know how long we have.
No.
I actually went to college when I graduated. I graduated from college in 2006. And I have a bachelor's degree. I also have an associate's degree.
Okay.
So initially, I was in the banking field, wholesale lending, and then I think it was like 2007 or something where the market, or was it 2008, where no documentation loans kind of much crashed the whole world of mortgage financing.
Yeah.
And
I got caught up in that too.
Yeah, a lot of people did. I brought my first home around that time. It was just like nothing. Like I want that house and it was mine. I didn't have to do anything.
Yeah. I ended up buying like 8 properties that year.
Yes, it was crazy. So then once they stopped that, a lot of stuff went sour. And because my direction was in mortgages and banking, I couldn't get another job. Once I lost my job at Ohio Savings, and I had just brought my first home. I turned 21. I graduated from college. When I came back to work on that Monday, I got terminated. And I could not find another job. As crazy as it sounds, I didn't realize how blessed I was, like making the money I was making there. I just thought it was regular because I was so young going just into it. Either it didn't pay what I was already making, or they never called me back. So I don't know if I suck at interviews. I guess everybody will be able to tell by this conversation you and I said. But it was God's plan. I remember at the time, Michi from Headlines used to do my hair.
Yeah. And
I had to cancel my hair appointment because I didn't have any money to get my hair done. And I was like so upset. She was like, "What's wrong?" I'm like, "Girl, I'm just having the roughest time." I had went into like mortgaging, working for mortgage company, and the buyer had walked away. Yeah. So I thought I was about to close on a house and get this big commission check so I could get my hair done, catch up on my bills, and it didn't go that way. So I was like, "Are you hiring there?" She was like, "Girl, you don't want to do none of this." Like a week later, she called me back and was like, "One of the girls are losing a shampoo assistant." I was like, "Shampoo assistant? I got a bachelor's degree, blah, blah, blah." Right. She like, "Well, they make $5-10 a head, and she do about 50 people a week. That'll give you something until you figure out." I'm like, okay, I'll come. Yeah. So I came, that was just random. I had no hair background. My parents always sent us to the hair salon or kept our hair in braids.
Right, yeah.
I went, and so once you work in a hair salon, nobody ever want to do your hair, even if you want to pay them. They always be like, "Do it yourself. I tell you what to do." It's just a thing. Like, nobody wants to do your hair. So I was helping Sherry at the time. I was her assistant.
Okay.
And some of the other girls, one of the other girls, Toya, who owned Black Box Fix now, was an assistant as well. And she's like, "I'm going to hair school. You should come with me. Let's go see what it is." I'm like, "Oh no," but I still roll with her. And they was like, it's a long list. I'm like, girl, by the time they call us back on that list, I'll have another job. They called us back the following week and told us we could start then. It just happened.
Start school.
Start cosmetology school. But at the time, I wasn't doing much because, like I said, I'm study interviewing. Nobody's calling me back. I don't know what's going wrong. What's wrong with my resume? What I'm saying incorrectly. They don't want to hire me. And next thing I know, Toya and I went through cosmetology school, and I became a cosmetologist, and I worked in headlines. Loved it there. And in the process, my dad was like, oh, I know somebody who opened a hair salon, and they said, did you want to manage it? I was like, no, I don't want to manage it. I just became a hairstylist. I like headlines. Circle back around. He's like, oh, well, she said you can buy it. Just buy the equipment and it could be yours. This is like months later. I'm like, I don't know what to do. We go look at it. It was like the deal of the lifetime. It was on Green Road in South Euclid. Anything that's too good is usually is. When I went to, she gave me the place. Like, here is yours, pretty much. And I just had to pay her for the equipment. I'm like, okay. So it was ugly. So I'm getting floors put down, bringing it up to my standard. And somebody was like, did you get your occupancy permit? I'm like, oh, I'll go get it tomorrow. When I go, they like, this isn't zone for a hair salon. Like, came in, they said the plumbing, the electricity, everything got to be pulled out. She turned it into a hair salon without getting proper stuff from the city. And South Euclid is not so nice.
Oh, listen, I know. So I have properties in South Euclid. So
crazy.
Yeah.
Long story short, she and I went back and forth. We ended up suing each other, and the judge ended up saying, everybody take their loss. Both of y'all learned the lesson. Next time you open the salon, look in advance. Next time you do this, that equipment is hers. And we did that for about 2 years. It was a money pit, money over money. So I was like, okay, forget it.
Were you still working with Mishi?
No, at the time I was working with Rashonda at Palmero's.
Okay, shout out to Rashonda.
Yes, shout out to Miss Purnell.
Miss Purnell, yes. Mrs. Purnell.
Mrs. Purnell.
Yeah, Mrs. Purnell.
And I was working with her, but she knew my process that I was going through at the time.
Yeah.
And I literally went to the product store one day, and I saw like a for lease sign in this plaza. And I'm like, on my way back down, I called the number, whatever. They didn't answer. I went out of town with my friends that weekend. When I landed, my phone was ringing. It was the realtor from the property. Like, did you inquire about this space? I was like, oh, yeah, I did. I wasn't actively looking, but I still had like over $10,000 worth of hair equipment. So now I was like, am I about to sell this or what? I was like traumatized.
And you talking about like the chairs and the dryers and all that stuff?
The shampoo seats. And the styling chairs are expensive as yes. So I'm like, they was like, come check it out. I took my mom with me. Sound too good to be true. So before I did anything, I backpedaled. I did exactly what that judge told me to do. Yep. I called the city. I called the fire department. I didn't sign anything until they told me what I could do and was it okay. They was like, oh, yes, it's fine. I'm like, so it's zoned for a hair salon. They like, yeah. And 12 years later, Style Bar is still standing.
That's what's up, man. Yep. I like that story. And that's in Lyndhurst.
That's in Lyndhurst, yes.
Lyndhurst,
yes, which is really dope. Because when I opened, it wasn't that many other small black businesses in Lyndhurst. Maybe 2. Now it's every other thing. Like, especially in my plaza. Now, my plaza is predominantly black, except for like the franchise businesses. And yes, it's a blessing. Like, that's my baby. I love Style Bar.
So when you started off with Style Bar and you got the salon, walk me through actually building it out and like getting the equipment in. Like, how long was that process before you were up and running and had your opening?
Okay, well, like I mentioned prior, I already had equipment. Yeah, because the lady had brought brand new equipment, had never been touched. But I guess she realized she couldn't do anything with it, so that's why she decided to sell it or give it away or whatever. Yeah. So I had brand new equipment. It was in a storage space. I signed my lease the mid-March. My opening day was April 4th. I didn't have any money because I had spent so much money at the other place doing all the cosmetic stuff you would want to do, like floors, painting. And like I said, it used to be
And you couldn't even open it up.
I could never open it up. This place was equally as unattractive. So I just painted. Like, my dad knew somebody that painted. Like, my parents had gave me money on the other project. They like, we're not giving. And I had spent so much, like, it was a money pit. Yeah. I got architect drawings, everything for that other place. Yeah. So I was like, well, I'm going to have to go in just with it. So we painted. And I think like one area of it had like that outdoor green carpet like that used to be on the porches back in the day. I think I changed the floor right there. And I put my equipment in there and said, I'm open.
I called it a day.
So it was so unattractive, like 2-3 weeks. And I had girls within like the first month or two. And that was that process. But the crazy part is, like, a year later, I was ready to redo it.
Yeah, we're gonna get into that though.
Yes,
we're gonna
okay.
get into that. So when you first opened up, how many stylists did you have?
Day one, it was just me.
And how many chairs were set up for stylists?
9, I believe.
At the time. So it was just you and a whole bunch of empty chairs.
Yes. So I feel like
I love it though. I love it though. We said we're gonna make this work.
Well,
I love it though.
Choice.
Exactly.
I'm like, okay.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep,
Okay. So then, about how long did it take for you to start getting some stylists and getting that booth rent?
If my memory serves me correctly,
it was so long ago. It was so long ago. Talking about 12 years ago over this.
I think my first person was a nail tech named Tiana.
Okay.
So I got a nail tech in.
Okay.
And which is funny is because I'm talking about all this equipment. I didn't even have a nail table. I had everything for styling people, so I had to go buy a nail table. But she came in, and then I think I did an ad in the Horizon, because that used to be before social media. That was the platform to get your business out.
How much time
has changed.
Changed.
So I ran.
It makes me feel so old. We're not even old, Essence. We're young.
I know, but I do feel old. Can't stay up as long as I used to.
Man, listen. I've been in bed every day this week at 8, 9 o'clock, just gone.
Down.
But
ready.
go ahead, though. Go ahead. So you had the nail tech come in first.
Nail tech.
So that was your first person.
My first person.
Nail tech.
Yes, it was a nail tech. And I think she found out by word of mouth. And
the Horizon, you said
the Horizon was my first. I did an ad probably a couple months later.
Yeah.
And I got I started getting calls when you had a Horizon, a lot of people call and just be nosy, and then every blue moon you get a hit.
Yeah.
It was the same thing, but Twitter was going on.
Okay.
So we didn't have Instagram yet, but we had Twitter, and I was active on Twitter at the time. Yeah. I'm not now anymore, but I think I reached out to anybody who had stylists in their name. I would message them or oh, I'm hiring stylists. So I ended up getting I believe Lex Top Stylist off of Twitter, and then the rest of the girls just started coming from Instagram, Lord, from Horizon. And calling, and then word of mouth. Yeah. And I did ads every other month, and then slowly it just started came together. So my first group of girls, I would say I was fully staffed within 6 to 9 months. I had rented out all the chairs.
What does that commercial lease look like? Not in detail, but when you got that space, was it a 2-year, 3-year, 4-year? What was your, do you know?
My initial lease with my landlord, I don't know, they just kind of took a liking to me. I don't know, I always telling my mom, he think he's my dad. But I had a sliding lease. So that is another thing that made it, I don't remember if it was 36 months or 5 years. I think it was 36. I think it was a 3-year lease.
3-year lease.
Okay. And so what they did for me was they said, okay, this is what we'll do. We'll start you off at this price, because they knew my story. And they said, and then we're going to slide you up. So they kind of walked me into my full rent. I didn't get to my full rent until month 36.
Nice.
And then
by then you already had
full tuition. So that was amazing to me. So I had to pay, I think, a deposit. I'll give you numbers. I think it was $1,300 was the first year, and they made me pay a $1,300 deposit, and the $1,300 something else probably was just
man, that's love.
Yeah,
that's nice.
And then it just went up a couple $100 every couple weeks, because I was in Lyndhurst near the freeway. That's prime real estate.
Yeah,
so it was just God's will. Sometimes when you're obedient to the process, it just works out for you.
I know that's right.
And it kind of just worked.
Yeah.
And so now I'm just the tenant, are you still staying this year? Yeah.
So when you start getting your stylist in, and you start charging booth rent, right? Mm-hmm. How do you determine what you will charge booth rent? Does booth rent increase over the time? You increase it on your stylist because everything, prices go up.
Right. I went based off of what the area was charging, what I had paid in the past, or what I had been paying, and just what the other salons was paying. Mm-hmm. And at that time, probably, so typically for me, if you're a new stylist, how it worked, I used the same technique that somebody gave me. So they gave me that slide and lease, and I work my way up. That's what I do for my stylist that doesn't have clientele established. So nobody has the pressure of paying $165, $175 a week, and they don't have any clients. Like, it's almost insane to ask that of someone. So I always start them off like at half, and then I move everybody up every 4 weeks in increments of 25. And I always tell them, with that extra money, you should actually use that for advertising, branding, buying product, classes. Because it's going to become a time whether you got one client or not, and I'm going to need all my money.
Yes.
So in most cases I did that, but when Style Bar first opened, the rent was $150 because that was industry standard. And as the years went on, more black salons in that area moved in, but like I said, they were more attractive. So like, people are attractive to attractive things.
Exactly.
So I knew I couldn't go up on rent, and we still looking like ugly around here.
So when do we update that boy? When did the renovations kick in?
I did. So part of the reason why it took so long is because I could not find somebody to renovate.
Okay.
It would be like old school contractors. They'll stop by like, yeah, I could put glass blocks here. I'd be like, glass blocks, windows in it. I don't want that. Or they just would not see through. Then you'll ask around, like, who did this for you? And they'll be like, oh, I call you back. I tell you, I text it to you. And you never
or also just men that are unprofessional. They want to take you out on dates.
Yeah.
I know a lot of women deal with that.
Yes. So it was stuff like that. And probably by year 5. So now, Instagram hit about 2010?
Yeah.
No.
Something like that. I don't know.
No.
I couldn't tell you.
I don't know. Because I opened in 2010. I don't know. But now Instagram is out.
Yeah.
So, and then they came with like the hashtags and stuff like that. So stuff started to go under albums and development like that. And I have been trying to remodel the salon since the second year I was open. Yeah. But like I said, a year would turn over, another year nothing would come. Yeah. And I really didn't know what I want. And I came across somebody who had did like a garage renovation and maybe like something caught on fire, and they redid like this part of a house, like residential stuff. Yeah. But it was like updated and new and tasteful. It wasn't like old. But like, you wouldn't go into yellow pages, or I wasn't going into yellow pages, and contractors really didn't advertise in the horizon. Nah. And older contractors don't know nothing about social media. So I bumped into Rodney.
Shout out to Rodney Mitchell.
Yes.
Sarzo, for
sure. Yeah. I don't even think he was called Sarzo.
Nah, he wasn't. I forgot what it was called back in the day.
I'm about to make it up, like Rodney Unlimited. I don't know what it was called. But I called him, and I was like, I'm looking to do a salon renovation, da-da-da-da. And he's like, okay, I can stop in. Yes. And he walked in, and Rodney already has a very young appearance, but we're talking about 5 or 6 years ago.
Probably longer than that.
I was looking at him like, the first thing I said is, how old are you? He was like, oh, I'm 29. I was like, 29 is still young, but whatever. At that time, I was like, that's about how old, or maybe I was
He was probably younger than that.
Yeah.
Because Rodney's younger than us.
I know. Yeah. After the project was done, I found out. He's like, I have something to tell you. He's like, I'm really 24. I'm like, oh, you was a liar. But yes, I met Rodney. He came in. I was like, I just want something fly. I want it simple. This is the colors I want. And we sat at the shampoo area for about an hour. And we went over. And I was like, what happened? Can I make those pipes up there go? He was like, oh, I never seen that. But yeah, let's do it. Yeah. And he always be like, Essence, you got the deal of a lifetime. I'm like, ain't my problem. You ain't know how to price point your work yet. And he
growing pains.
Growing pains. But that was the biggest thing for him, because it worked out for both of us. Yeah. I had experienced probably a walkout about 6 months to a year before that. A walkout is simply not when they all not a strike or anything. When you lose a group of girls all in the same window frame. Not the same day, but within the same country. Yeah. In our industry, it's called walkout. So I had lost like probably 5 or 6 stylists. Some of them went to go do their own thing, and others went to other salons in the area. Yeah. That I was telling you about. More attractive, more compatible. Yep. And I posted when Rodney finished, looking for new stylists, because I wasn't even marketing for new stylists until I did my remodel. I was rolling out. Yep. And it took off for both of us. I was back fully staffed within 30 days. Nice. And
Rodney's business just started picking. Hey, he was in salons and barbershops
every day. Yes. Yeah. So it was a blessing for both of us.
That's what's up.
And he always come there like, Tag, you really be keeping this place up? You really want to? I'm not redoing anything right now until it fall apart or the trend change. Right. Instead of trend change for what?
Real talk.
Why would I do that?
That's what's up. So, man, business for 13 years, man. Your current stylists that are in there, how long have they been rocking with you? Have you had the consistent same stylist in the last 5-6 years, or you kind of still change a couple here and there?
I would say for the most part, they're all still in. This group of ladies, that's how we developed the term barbs. I don't know if you heard.
I was just about to ask you that. Who are the barbs?
The barbs. Barbs is employee, family, close friend of, client, anybody that has. Style Bar is like a lifestyle / family brand. Yeah. And we've known each other for a long time. You know how close my family is. I use those just being essence, like who I am, my authentic self, like how I treat my family is how I treat my coworkers. And we've developed like a sorority. Like some of the girls, like I've never been to college before. Like my cousins are in sororities and things like that. I never had that opportunity because I went straight from high school to cosmetology school to here. She was like, y'all are like my girls. So like the last 5 years, yes, like Britt's probably been there like 7 years and we had a few girls like right during COVID open salons. I still go to their salons to get service because like I told you, when you work in the salon, don't nobody want to do your hair. So I go to them or to their stylist to get my services done. We had barbs given. We come to everything for each other. Like they just are developing and growing as they should. Like and just stepping into new days. But those are still my sister barbs. That's what we call each other.
That's dope.
And Shonda's there now. Yes, and Sherry was there at one point in time. Remember I mentioned that was her. So it's like one of those things, and I tell them all the time when they stepping into their new season, like you never know what the future holds. I might need a booth in your salon one day. So real like, talk. And they could come to me, they ask, I tell them everything. I be fussing at them like, why isn't this, that? Like Kay, who owns No Label. She has a selfie. She started at Style Bar, brand new stylist. She only had a work permit when she started there. Yeah. She's a salon owner now. Shout out to her. Yeah, she had a selfie museum in her basement for over a year before anybody in Cleveland had it. She never posted it, never said it. Every single day I used to be like, you crazy. Oh, you crazy. Will you release it? She like, I know, I don't know what to say. Say I have a selfie machine. So like I be on them. I'm on them. Like I want people to be on me. So those are my girls.
Real talk.
Yep.
That's what's up, man. Well, I'm proud of you, Essence. I mean, in business for 13 years, a lot of people, man, it's hard to start a business. And some people quit, some people after a couple of years, because business is never always going to go smooth. So I think your story about how you started and how you didn't give up, you got a hold of the salon after you going through legal stuff and everything with the city, and then you still decide to go and follow through with that. And now, boom, look at you. 13 years in the business. That's dope. 13 years,
yes. It hasn't always, like you said, it's not always easy. It is ups and downs. Like, even for me, like, as a stylist, like, the brand itself carries itself. It does what it do. Yeah. But as a stylist, things have changed for me drastically too.
Yeah. So I was gonna ask you, and I asked this question to Michi. I had Michi on here in the beginning, a few episodes when I first started. So we're gonna get into the other business. But like, are you still as active as doing hair as you used to be? Or you kind of like now just have a set few clients that you only deal with?
Yes. Okay, so I only have a set few clients. I'm not as active. Doing hair makes me happy and it's soothing. Like, I'm a people person. I like to make women feel more beautiful. Yeah. I like to make them laugh. Like, it's like my stand-up comedy side job. I don't know why. If you having a bad day, I'm going to make you smile.
Barbers and hairstylists, man, y'all are not just barbers and hairstylists.
Exactly,
y'all
we not.
are what's the word? Y'all's people's what's the word? I'm having a brain fart right now, but everything. Psychiatrists. Somebody come laugh, talk to. If I got something on my heart, I see Tone almost every Friday, so we always have our deep conversations. And sometimes we just kick back and laugh and giggle and just talk about stupid boy stuff.
Yes, you know same likewise. Like, I be like, oh no, that's enough. Like, I never even realized that people really held on to my opinions the way they did, because I just be speaking from the heart. And I don't be blowing smoke up there, but I've had people text me a week later like, thank you so much. What you said was exactly right. And I'll be like, what was we talking about?
Right, because you're talking to so many people.
Like, I don't mean no harm, but like,
so many conversations.
What day was that? Was it this visit or last visit? So like, to hear things like that back, it's amazing. But as far as me as a stylist, as much as I understand social media, I don't have a good take on it. Like my presentation for it. And this herd of hairstylists that came in, these young girls, my current coworkers and former coworkers, they have a good grip on it. So like how I'm talking about the magazine that was dropped off once a month, like they can really post 10 to 15 people a day. Yeah. My clients are older. They're not wearing a full face of makeup. Yeah, when they get up out my chair, they don't want to stand, because that's actually part of the service. Like after they do their hair, they walk them over to a corner and they have like a 15-minute photo shoot. That is so like, for me being a stylist that was doing this beforehand, it's like, I got somebody sitting right here. I'm going to take 15 minutes to finish her over here with a picture. So as a result, my chair slowed down. And another thing in this industry that happens, and what I explain to my girls is, your clients grow up with you. Yep. So their priorities change. Yep. Like they don't necessarily have to get a hairstyle every week anymore. Yep. Once they have 2 kids. Or they don't rent an apartment downtown no more. Now they have children and they want to live in Twinsburg, so they have a bigger mortgage. So now they getting 1 wig from you and they making it work, or they don't went natural, and or their kids is home for the summer and they don't have time, or they're traveling more. Real like talk. Things change. So when you go from having a single clientele that's doing whatever and financially irresponsible, you start to see people, as your priorities shift, so does theirs. So it's not like, I don't feel no type of way about it, but that's the thing with hair for me. It's not making me feel as full, so I stepped into a new arena.
That's what's up, man. So the new arena, licensed practical nurse. Yep. And you have now opened up a place called the Body Bar.
Body Bar Med Clinic.
Body Bar Med Clinic. I'm looking at the logo, which is really dope, by the way.
Oh, thank you.
Shout out to whoever did the logo.
Oh, yes. You referred me to her.
Look at that. See how we just keep it all in business, man.
Can't even think of her Instagram name. Film something.
Yeah, I'll figure it out. Next, I'm having, like I said, my brain is a little slow. It's a Monday, y'all. Just know we shooting on a Monday. This name may not air today, but we shooting on a Monday. Yes. I had worked out this morning. I've been up since 5 o'clock this morning, so please forgive me.
Early bird
gets the worm, though.
Every trip.
So, say it one more time. Body Bar Med Spa.
Med Clinic.
Med Clinic.
Okay, so my initial post when I put it out, it was Body Bar Med Clinic, and my thoughts were, when I became a nurse, part of the reason let me back up. Yeah, let's back up, because I want to talk to you about, when did the shift come where it's like, I want to get into nursing or become a nurse for whatever you're doing. Like you were doing hair, and then all of a sudden, boom. Yep. And one thing I do like about, real quick, that you did post when I saw it, is that you said something about, I've been working on this for over a year privately. And that right there got me, because sometimes, this is just, Dad, can you put the camera on me real quick? So I can say this real quick. Sometimes we have ideas, right? And we have these business ideas that we come up with that are really dope. Yes. But then we go around and tell everybody about it without even starting it. Yes. And then you never started. Yes. And then you're like, what happened to that one? So when you have something that you are passionate about and you want to do something, keep it to yourself. Maybe tell your closest friend, or your husband, or your whoever, your wife. But like, man, anytime I have a business idea, I typically keep it to myself and I just do it. And then it's like, boom, I didn't go around telling a whole bunch of people I'm doing it before it even came to fruition. Yeah. So, anyway. Sometimes people interrupt the process, especially if you're a creative person. Yeah. Sometimes people can't think as creatively as you. So if they say something and then it start making you feel insecure about what you want, or maybe you maybe it's oversaturated, or that can't work in Cleveland. So I've learned that along the process too. So I do a lot of stuff. But when I decided to become a nurse, I knew that I wanted to be more in the cosmetic area of it. So when I did it, what made me decide to be a nurse is I've always crushed on it. My siblings are nurses. Gloria and Sergio, I made Sergio go to nursing school. He was like such in a what should I do space. I made him. I'm like, no, you're going to nursing school. You're going to be a nurse. He like, guys don't be nurses. I'm like, yes, they do. Yeah. You're going to be a nurse, and everybody, you're going to be Nurse Hottie. He's Nurse Hottie, okay?
I already know.
And Gloria's a nurse, and my sister Rhonda, my father's daughter, she's a nurse. So like, and a lot of my clients are nurses. I mean, all different levels. Practical nurses, RNs, nurse practitioners. Like, so I'm around it all the time. the nurses, let me tell you, remember I said people priorities change? The nurses are the ones that still get their hair done because they get and they're on a fixed income. They can go get it. So let me tell you that part. That's it. The medical people, I should say. So I have been crushing on it. Like I mentioned prior, my chair was slowing down. I wasn't feeling as full, and I kind of felt like I had reached my ceiling for as a cosmetologist. But I was so confused because I had a bachelor's degree. So I'm like, I don't want to go work at I don't know what to do. And then right before I got married, I told my husband, I said, I'm going to nursing school after we get married. And he was like, you're not going to leave that salon. I'm like, I'm not leaving the salon. I'm not closing it. I'm going and I'm going to do this. And I want to do post-op care, and I'm going to do that. He like, let's do it.
Yeah. And
so I started nursing school probably like 3 weeks after we got married. And I went straight through the program. I had a lot of stuff happen. Like I lost my dad, my brother, and my grandmother in like a 6-month period. And some people that would have made them stop. But for whatever reason, it gave me more to do. It kind of cut me from being so sad. And I knew that all of them would be very disappointed for me to stop doing what I was doing to mourn them. Like they're not those type of people.
That's real. Yeah.
They weren't self-absorbed. Like they was always my cheerleaders. So I went for it, and I went, and as soon as I graduated, it's just being obedient to the process. When I say God aligned things for me that I still am amazed at. I was supposed to take my test March 16th. I moved my test to March 2nd. Because I was going on vacation March 20th. And I'm like, if I don't pass my boards, my NCLEX, I'm not going. It was for my sister's birthday. They like, you're so dramatic. But this was right when you was seeing in the news that it was something called COVID-19. So I'm like, oh, I'm going, da-da-da-da. So I moved the date. I take my test the 12th. I find out I'm licensed the 13th. Like, oh, nice. God is so good. So now I can go to Cabo. It's on the floor. We going to Cabo next Friday. Yeah. Monday was the 16th. They closed the testing centers because of this COVID-19. They closed the hair salons March 18th because of COVID-19. We canceled our trip. I never went. I'm like, oh my God. 2 weeks later, my brother called like, we're going to do a travel assignment. I'm like, okay, I don't know what to do. He like, you'll be fine. They end up calling my sister. She pretty much signed me and my brother up, and we worked the entire pandemic together. We went and left where we didn't even know what it was, because I don't know if you guys remember with Ebola, like a lot of those medical professionals died because it was so new and they didn't know how to properly take off their PPE. I mean, granted, they were giving us a lot of money, so of course that was the biggest perk. But at the same time, we were really going to risk our lives. We didn't know what we were walking into. The PPE we put on was like plastic with masks, and people put it on us and took it off. And we worked the entire pandemic, on and off. Gloria and I. Sergio still has not been home since there. And now we just do travel nursing. So we learned so much about COVID and everything that after I announced the Body Bar Med Spa, because I do post-op care for women that's had post-op surgery, IV therapy, that's like the dopest thing ever. That we'll actually start that in January. So like if you have a hangover or migraine, or if you're pregnant and you have nausea or stomach flu, you can really pay us to come to your home. We wear scrubs. If you want us to be business professional, if you in a hotel and you don't want people in your business, you want us to wear street clothes, we'll come, and a medical professional will come out and give you an IV bag with the proper vitamins and medication in it to get you feeling better in 45 minutes. So people pay top dollar if you have a hangover.
I've seen that in Miami.
Yes. And it's a wide open market here.
So we were talking about how you started traveling nursing because you learned from the experience.
Yes. I learned from the so we left and we went to New Orleans and we did travel nursing. So we worked the whole pandemic. And being so hands-on with COVID and being the first, we actually saw everything being developed in live time. So like nothing was behind the scenes in secret. Like we really was learning like where they were ordering. Like it was not like, you know, usually you come to a facility, they train you and this and that. Like we were helping them Google and figure out things as it was happening. So when I did the med spa part, Gloria, my sister, that's also a nurse.
Shout out to the whole family, by the way, man. Your family is super dope.
Oh, I thank you.
I love your family.
I love them too. At times, no, I'm just joking. I kept getting inquiries like, because if you Google, some med spas offer COVID testing and stuff. So I was telling Gloria, like, everybody keep asking me about COVID tests. I think I want to do it. She was like, I think that you should do it. She was like, let's do it. I was like, okay. So Gloria is my business partner. And that's how it changed from Body Bar Med Spa to Body Bar Med Clinic. Because now we have a clinical side. Nice. So we do the post-op care, the IV therapy, and things like that. But we also offer COVID-19 tests. One of the products that we offer that is in a market of its own, nobody would ever understand it unless, is the 30-minute PCR test. A PCR test is the most affirmative action as far as a test. They usually send it to a laboratory, and it can take up to 72 hours. Okay. But to travel, you need to go to most countries. Like, for instance, if you were driving to Canada, Canada is very strict. They only want PCR tests. Okay. The other test that people use is that little antigen. It looked like a pregnancy test. The thing with the antigen test is you could be positive, but if the viral load is not high, so like if you're not like on day 3, it can say negative and you really could be positive. So that's why a lot of places don't accept it. So those are good for like concerts and conferences and things like that.
People still passing it around.
Passing it around, doing whatever, they slanging it. So that's why I'm like, you slanging that corona? I always say that when I find out somebody's positive, like, you slanging it. But so this 30-minute product is like a game changer because you can get your test results in 30 minutes. And it's also a mobile system. So we don't have a physical location because we've been trying to get into the airport. Okay. So we hadn't signed our lease yet. But if it doesn't work out, we're going in Woodmere on Chagrin. Okay. But that's what we've been working on. So right now, everything we're doing is mobile. I got like a little space set up in my home where I can take inpatients like for my body sculpting stuff. Yeah, body sculpting. And post-op care. Yeah. But for the test is travel. And so people need tests right now today. You go to CVS, if you read the Wall Street Journal, they're overwhelmed. So you're not getting your results.
Walgreens,
5 days, 7 days. So by the time you get your results back, they're expired and you're going to Jamaica in the morning.
Right, yeah.
So now you got to cancel your trip.
So let me get this right. For anybody in Cleveland or anybody listening to this that's in Cleveland, they want to get a COVID test, they could go to you.
Yes. We do not accept medical insurance because this is a travel product. Like, we can test, if you're just symptomatic and you want to pay, you can. Yeah. But your insurance company will reimburse you. So all you have to do is show them your receipt. Right. Okay. And I don't know what verbiage you should use. Use your own.
So what's the cost? What's the cost of a test?
PCR test is $250. The 30-minute PCR is $250 and antigen is $75.
Okay.
Yes.
And the PCR is highly recommended. The 250 is the one that's highly recommended.
The one, that's where most countries is requiring. Like right now, Biden just put something in play that you have to have a 1-day-old PCR to enter the country from certain countries. Those people mean they're not coming because they don't know where to get that from. Okay. So like, and this is for people that you'd be surprised. Like the day after Thanksgiving, Gloria and I started at 7 in the morning. We worked till 9 o'clock at night.
Well, look here, y'all. $250 ain't nothing. If you about to travel out the country and spend that money, you better have that $250 in the pocket. Exactly. So go ahead and get that test, okay? Yes. Put that money to the side, a little money, put it to the side, and get that test.
Get the test. But
so, talk to me a little bit about the it's called post-op care.
Yes, post-op care.
So that's obviously when women go out and have like surgery and stuff done, right?
Yeah, you get cosmetic surgery.
Cosmetic surgery. So with that, I've been seeing that, and then you put in there, it's like $1 billion business now because it's really popular down south. Yes. And typically once the surgery is done, they're supposed to like go into a home for a little while or something like that to kind of take healing and stuff. Yes. Now, is that something that you're going to be offering, like a home for women or guys or whoever to come in or
get surgery? Okay. Yeah. So the home that you're referring to is called a recovery house.
Okay.
A recovery house is typically where you go after you get surgery. See, the thing with cosmetic surgery is a lot of people don't realize that the surgery is one expense, but the post-op care is just as much, if not more. When you get cosmetic surgery, you're not in a hospital. You're usually like in a doctor's office. So like if you went to your, like a doctor's office, they do your surgery and you're discharged. You could go home, you could go to a hotel, or you could go to a recovery house, like you said. Okay. When you go to a recovery house, you be so out of it for like, usually most doctors say you can't fly for 14 days or 12 days. So when you go, you stay at a recovery house, or you take a nurse with you, or a friend or a partner, and they stay in because you can't barely stand up. You be lightheaded. You lose so much blood in the process because they take so much out and they put it back in so quickly that it is. So things, sometimes when you get surgery, you still have stitches in you. You still have drains. So those are like plastic tubes still inside your abdominal wall or in your breast. And that's it. Like if you're in the same city, I'm sure your surgeon will remove them. But if you're not and you go back home, like for instance, I've had cosmetic surgery a few times. The first time I got it done, I was in Miami. I went to Dr. Miami actually. And I went and I stayed at a recovery house for 12 days, however long he required me to. And I had drains. The last day that I thought I was going to go home, he was going back and forth with, should he take my drains off or not? But I was discharged to go home. He ended up removing them, but if not, I would have had to come to Cleveland. And then when you call the hospital or your primary physician, they're not touching it. They're not, they're like, no. So we actually have, Gloria and I have an MD on staff. That is crazy because we're nurses, but we can terminate them. We hired them. We interviewed them. So everything we do is signed off on. So it's like legal through the state of Ohio. It's just not us winging it. You know what I mean? So insurances and everything else that's required when you got medical license.
You dot your I's and cross your T's.
Yes,
sure
I've learned that
official.
because with Star I was winging things. But so with post-op care, it's a lot of stuff. You in the massages, you have to sometimes have manual massages where people actually massage you in the incisions because it's like little holes. Fluid will actually flow out of you onto chucks. I'm sure everybody's YouTube this or saw it. It's so on social media right now. So, and I'm obsessed with that stuff. So, and a lot of people, when they come back, they don't know what happened. So, by me being one of the people that had surgery in this area that did not keep it a secret. I was not the first. There's a whole bunch of people that had it way before me, but they were more private with
Most definitely.
Which they should do whatever they make, whatever. I became like the spokesperson for surgery. People will call the salon phone, DM me. Everybody who come through there start asking where to go, how about this doctor? So now it do what it do. But I feel bad because it started to take a back seat to the COVID test. So I'm gonna have to once we get a space, I'm actually gonna have a staff. So when I'm not available, because right now it's just Gloria and I. So like if one of us aren't available to do it, then so I kind of turned my schedule off because the COVID test is so all over the place. Like we did, people are calling us in to do employee testing like the night before. Like, can you come tomorrow and do 30 tests? And I'm like, Gloria, do we got 30 tests? She like, yeah, let's do it.
That's dope. One thing I'm hearing about what you're doing is just I'm thinking about like all the multiple streams of income you created. From opening a salon, of course, with the salon comes the booth rent and all that stuff. So that's just a stream of income doing hair. And then now you have the Body Bar say it over time.
Body Bar Med Clinic.
Body Bar Med Clinic. I keep wanting to say spa so bad. Body Bar Med Clinic. And then from that, you created just the streams of income from COVID testing. I see that you're also doing sculpting classes. So you're teaching people that as well. And then just people that just coming in who need any type of just assistance after cosmetic surgery. You know, you're another income. So it's just dope to see that you're creating all these different things. So how is the sculpting classes going? Is that like picking up for you?
I've had people reach out to do one-on-ones, but I'm actually going to do a large group class where it could be more price. Because one-on-one is my time. It's a whole day. You have to pay me. So if I did a lot of one-on-ones starting this up. Like I took classes locally, out of town. Like I spent a lot of money on classes before I moved into this arena. So my plan is at the beginning of the year. I didn't want to do it at the end of the year because I know holidays and money get funny. But like at the beginning of the year, I'm going to do a large group class so I can bring the price point down so it'd be more affordable for people, but I still generate the income I need from it. And yes, I get so many DMs and people are like, I'm gonna do it. Well, tell me when the group class is coming. And so I think it's going to do well.
That's what's up, man. So I just got a few more questions, Essence, probably like 3 or 4. I want to know, like, what is your passion though? Like, I know you said hair because you went a whole different, like you went to doing hair 12, 13 years in business, and then boom, now you're in a whole different arena.
Yes.
So like, how do you balance the two? You know what I'm saying? And is there one that you like more than the other, or because the salon is on autopilot? Yeah. Which is so dope.
Yeah, the salon do its thing. Like, I don't have to be there to run it, like, at all. Brittany holds it down for me when I'm not there.
But again, you still do have your few clients that you
do. So, yes, if I'm not doing a travel assignment, I work Thursday through Saturday. Okay. And sometimes I might do Friday and Saturday. I'm not a stylist that book my clients now that I'm in this. I don't book out 2 or 3 months in advance because I just don't know where I'll be standing. Like, and they're understandable and they're flexible. So it's just a couple weeks out. So I know who, and like I said, it's just my regular. So I already kind of know their routine and they know what I have going on. So it kind of works for me. And as far as being passionate about more than one than another, nursing is still new, so I'm learning so much from it. I know a lot of the cosmetic stuff and the COVID stuff. I don't have a lot of bedside experience. However, what makes me happy for both of them is making people feel better and see themselves better. So like the joy of making, if I'm in a nursing home, making a older person that's been grumpy all day laugh, even if they cussing me out, but I still get them to chuckle like, girl, get out my room. Like, I think that's funny.
That's dope,
and with my girls. So just making people feel and become more beautiful, more healthier, one visit at a time. Like if my presence made them feel better, that's the part that makes me feel like both parts is equally yoked. Yep.
Goals, right? So we're at the end of the year. This is when people start to set their goals. They get creative and do the vision boards and stuff like that. So are you typically a person who is a goal setter and map out your 2022, or or are you kind of just like?
No, I set goals every year, but it's kind of weird because I feel bad I did not cross off all my goals for 2021. Sorry. So those are going to be my goals again for 2022.
Listen, there we go.
I wanted to host my first group body class, and I wanted to purchase a house. But every time me and my husband bid on a house, we get outbidded by a cash buyer. So
the market's been a little tough.
So outside of those two things, as of right now, they're rolling into that. So just getting Body Bar actual location, Gloria and I, and probably getting staff because we're going to need it. So this time next year, we'll probably have a small staff or on-call medical professionals.
That's dope.
Yep.
That's dope. So you and your husband trying to buy a house, so still Cleveland is definitely still home for you.
Cleveland
you hear about a lot of people moving, this, that, and the third. So tell me just about how you feel about Cleveland and what your business is being in Cleveland. Is Cleveland good to you?
Cleveland has been amazing to me. I do see the downfalls of what other people have experienced, and I feel like sometimes people be like, oh, I'm getting out of here, it's the same people, it's the same dating pool, but I feel like once you adjust yourself in a who's of the next city, it's the same people, same dating pool, or whatever the situation is. So I am a family person. My family means a lot to me. Yes. Although I became more open-minded traveling, being away from my husband, being away from my mom, becoming a travel nurse. Like, for real, we still talk on the phone all day. I FaceTime. So if y'all, like, they would be at a cookout and I'll be like, prop the phone up so I can see. And I'll be on FaceTime at work watching them. So I didn't feel as far away. And we're in a situation now where you can't just up and catch a flight. Like, so it's not that. My brother plans to relocate. So I think once he relocated and I get to crushing on, I think going to Dallas. And once he get there, I love Texas.
Yeah, my brother lives there in Houston.
Houston is where I would go. Yeah. That's my favorite place. So I would, I don't know what the future holds, but as of right now, Cleveland is still home for us.
All right, that's what's up, man. And then just last question, what advice would you give to any young woman who, you started when you were 21, you graduated from college. Like, what advice would you give to any young woman who wants to get into entrepreneurship, maybe starting off with hair school or, nursing, and who wants to kind of do their own thing?
The advice I think I would give, especially to young brown girls, to all women, because we are strong creatures. Yes. So we are assertive, we loud, we shake things up. And I've always just stayed true to my authentic self. Like, I don't change my voice based upon who I'm speaking to or any of that, because I feel like I'm not trying to prove to you I'm good enough. I am. So like I'm just as educated as most of the people I'm having a conversation in it. Don't get the 30-inch hair extensions or the small waist to hip ratio. Stay true to your authentic self and continue to educate yourself. Even like when I was mentioning with hair, I kind of fell out of it. I stopped investing in it. I stopped because I wanted to change it. But if hair is your thing, you have to put money in anything to make it better. Like McDonald's don't look the same from 10 years ago. They just changed that logo, that seat, that chair, that they just sold us that double cheeseburger and that fish fillet 70 different ways. You have to keep reinventing yourself and keep putting into it and stay true to who you are. Don't ever shy back or fall back or don't feel good enough. And I wish I had people tell me that when I was younger, like that was in the industry, like just always keep pushing, always keep pushing, just push. It's going to be hard. It's going to be annoying. It's going to be seasons, especially in hair, that you don't make as much money as you desire to. Then it's going to be times where you make so much money, you make some of the most foolish mistakes of your life. So when you're making those foolish mistakes, remember when Christmas come around, how much you're not going to make. Save. That's what I say. And that's something even still now, I'm just getting better with at this age. Like
it's always it's a learning process, man. Entrepreneurship, money, everything is always just a constant learning process.
Yes, it is. But I think it's dope to be able to put people into situations to make money for their families, or to be able to say, I did that. Like I literally don't have nothing backing it but me. Like you know what I mean? Like not having a 9 to 5, that's a huge risk. And they say risk make champions, or champions make risk, or whatever.
Something like that. You know, the reward, something about risk and reward.
Risk and reward, or whatever it is. And it's just saying, I would have never thought at 21 I would be having this conversation with you, or never even saw 5 years ago, you couldn't tell me I was going to be a nurse. So it's just that when you do it, don't ever shy away. I was kind of embarrassed initially of going to nursing school, because I thought that, and that's ignorant for me to be embarrassed to become more educated because of what the industry would think. The industry, these people, but now I'm looking back like, who? Why? Girl, I went to a school that was far away because I didn't want to bump into Cleveland. I drove 55 miles. It's like 55 minutes a day, commute back an hour each way, each day to go to school so I could go in peace. So people didn't know who I was, or I was a hairstylist. Eventually they figured it out. Like, you do hair, don't you? You change your hair too often. But things like that. And then I was like, it just clicked one day. I was like, to be like, I'm embarrassed to pretend like I'm still like you. No, that was dumb.
Be your own authentic self.
Yeah, man. Just be you. So all I can say is be yourself. Say it with your chest. If your name is Boo Keisha, don't let them call you B. Make them pronounce it every trip. Like that's how I feel. And just continue to educate yourself and stand tall on your values and the things that really matter to you. That's what I would suggest.
That's what's up, man. Essence, this was amazing episode 18, y'all. Essence Devore. I got Chef Jamie Smith in the house.
Yes, Jamie.
You know what I'm saying? Hooking it up for the last episode of the year. Jamie, what you got us, Jamie?
Okay, so we got some Parmesan and garlic mash. Over top of it, we have something that I know is everybody's favorite, our famous lamb chops. We got dual lobster tails and some mixed greens.
Oh man, she put it together for you, Essence.
Yes.
Yeah, she put it together. That's what's up. That's what's up.
Jamie.
Well, look, everybody, man, thank you all for tuning in to Lunch with Lawrence. It's been 18 great episodes for 2021. I'm excited to enroll some new things for 2022. I'll see y'all next year. Have a happy new year, everybody.
Happy New Year.